हेलो फ्रेंड्स, सुप्रभात। सुबह के 5 बजे हैं और ये 14 मई 2021 के पेपर लेके मैं आपके साथ हूँ। तो अब हम लोग पेपर पढ़ते हैं। फर्स्ट ये है स्पुतनिक वी शॉट्स टू अवेलेबल इन
Sputnik
इंडिया।
V shots to be available in India next week, says government. We are working to secure, enhance availability of vaccines, Niti Aayog member. Special correspondent New Delhi. The Sputnik V vaccine, developed by the Gamaleya National Center of Russia, will be available in India from early next week, Niti Aayog member VK Paul said on Thursday. We are also proactively engaging with foreign vaccine manufacturers like Moderna, Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, asking them to apply for emergency use authorization in India so that these vaccines can be easily imported and made available in India. Simultaneously, we, along with other like-minded countries, are stressing on IPR waiver for the COVID-19 vaccines. These two interventions, taken in conjunction, will ensure easy availability of vaccines not only in India but globally too, Dr. Paul said at a press conference. Initial hiccups. Stating that overall 216 crore doses of vaccines could be available in India between August and December, Dr. Paul said, the current mismatch in demand and supply is just an initial dynamic situation, which is being faced across the world. Speaking about Sputnik V, Dr. Paul said local production is expected to begin in July at Dr. Reddy's laboratories in Hyderabad. Sputnik V was given emergency use authorization by the Drugs Controller General of India, DCGI, in April and was first approved in Russia last year. The ministry, in a statement, said allegations about the delay in licensing for Covaxin and the delayed approval for technology transfer for manufacturing Covaxin were baseless.
तो ये हमारे लिए गुड न्यूज है और ये राजनीति पॉलिटी की दृष्टि से
Nearby, Priyanka seeks probe into floating bodies. Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra on Thursday said what is happening in Uttar Pradesh is inhuman and criminal and demanded a judicial probe by a High Court judge into bodies floating in the Ganga in the state. The government is busy image building while people are suffering unimaginably, tweeted Ms. Vadra.
तो ये इस बारे में है जो कि हम लोग पिछले 3 दिन पेपर में देख रहे थे कि ये बिहार में जो कोरोना का कोविड-19 का लाशें हैं वो तय रहता, उसी के बारे में प्रियंका जी कुछ अभी हम लोग जानकारी
ignores Mamta view, visits riot hit areas. Governor violated long-standing norms, says Trinamool. Shiv Sahai Singh, Kolkata. West Bengal Governor Jagdeep Dhankhar on Thursday visited areas affected by post-election violence in Cooch Behar, ignoring Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee's disapproval. She called it unilateral proceedings by the governor, violative of long-standing norms of procedures. Senior Trinamool Congress leaders sharply criticized the governor's move. During the day, Mr. Dhankhar visited Matarbhanga and Dinhata, where he met family members of those affected by the violence. At one place in Dinhata, a group of people raised "Go Back" slogans. Mr. Dhankhar got down from his vehicle and said, the situation reflected a total collapse of rule of law. He chided a police officer, saying he should be aware of where the governor's convoy was heading. People in fear. I have seen fear in the eyes of the people. Houses of the people have been looted, he said. Mr. Dhankhar was accompanied by Nishit Pramanik, BJP MP from Cooch Behar. In the evening, he took to social media, saying he was distressed by the grim situation. Visited several affected areas. Distressed at grim scenario. After listening to tales of sorrow, no tears left in my eyes. Never imagined severity of post-poll retributive violence at Mamta official was much beyond. One is made to pay with life and rights for voting, he tweeted. The governor held a press conference at the Cooch Behar Circuit Office. On Friday, he will visit areas in neighboring Assam. Former Union Minister and senior Trinamool leader Yashwant Sinha alleged that the West Bengal governor was acting according to a script provided to him by Modi/Shah. The West Bengal governor is acting according to a script provided to him by Modi/Shah, who have not yet accepted their miserable defeat in the elections and who have no respect for the Constitution of India. They will never leave Mamata in peace, Mr. Sinha tweeted. Trinamool leader and MP Saugata Roy said the party had earlier approached the president seeking recall of the governor. We can again approach the president if our party chairperson Mamata Banerjee advises us to do so, Mr. Roy said.
Why not place convicts under house arrest? Ask SC.
Why not place convicts under house arrest, asks SC. Bench highlights alarming congestion in prisons. Legal correspondent, New Delhi. The Supreme Court has thrown open the door to the legislature to ponder over the idea of placing convicts under house arrest to avoid overcrowding of prisons. A bench of Justices UU Lalit and K.M. Joseph, in a judgment, highlighted the alarming statistics of prisons. The suggestion is relevant considering the spread of COVID-19. A few days ago, a bench, led by Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramnar, issued a series of directions, including the grant of interim bail and parole to prisoners to decongest prisons. Justice Joseph said the occupancy rate in prisons had climbed to 118.5% in 2019. The court referred to the National Crime Records Bureau's figures of 2019 to show that 18,86,092 inmates were admitted in jails. The number of under-trial prisoners in 2019 was 3,30,487, which, in fact, constituted 69.05% of the total numbers of prisoners. Secondly, a very large sum, 6,818.1 crore rupees, was the budget for prisons. The tremendous overcrowding of prisons and the huge budget were both relevant in the context of the possibilities that house arrest offers, the court noted. It concluded that as regards post-conviction cases, we would leave it open to the legislature to ponder over its employment. We have indicated the problems of overcrowding of prisons and the cost to the state in maintaining prisons. The 206-page judgment was based on a plea for default bail filed by activist Gautam Nawalkar.
SC asked Delhi government that open meal centers.
SC asks Delhi government to open meal centers. Court also directs UP and Haryana to provide food to migrant laborers. Legal correspondent, New Delhi. The Supreme Court on Thursday ordered the governments of Delhi, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana to open community kitchens in well-advertised places in the National Capital Region, NCR, to provide meals at least twice a day to migrant laborers stranded due to the lockdown in place to curb COVID-19 spread. A bench of Justices Ashok Bhushan and M.R. Shah directed the Centre, Delhi, UP and Haryana governments to give dry ration to the migrant poor under the Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme by utilizing the public distribution system with effect from May 2021. The court directed the authorities to not insist on any identity card from the migrant laborers while distributing dry ration and that they ought to be content with the self-declaration made by the workers. The bench ordered Delhi and Haryana to ensure that adequate transport is provided to stranded migrant laborers in the NCR who want to return home. The district administration, in coordination with the police, may identify such stranded migrant laborers and facilitate their transport either by road transport or train. The Union of India may also issue necessary instructions to Ministry of Railways to take necessary and adequate measures to cater to the need of migrant laborers, the court directed. The court has asked Delhi, Haryana, Bihar, Gujarat, Maharashtra and Odisha to file specific responses on steps taken and details of welfare schemes provided for migrant laborers. The court has been protecting the rights of migrant laborers since the outbreak of the pandemic in 2020. During the hearing on Thursday, the bench urged the centre and the states to consider the harsh realities facing the migrant poor. The hearing was based on an application filed through Advocate Prashant Bhushan seeking urgent intervention from the Supreme Court to ensure food security, dry rations, cash transfer and transport facility for migrant laborers at nominal rates during the second wave of the pandemic.
Add Satara. This is first page completed. Second page, BTech student arrested for cheating.
Tech student arrested for cheating. Staff reporter, New Delhi. A 21-year-old tech student was arrested from Punjab for allegedly duping 47 people on the pretext of providing ICU setup and oxygen cylinders at home for COVID-19 patients, police said on Thursday. DCP, North, Antul Fans said that the accused has been identified as Aryan Singh alias the Ninja, a resident of Noida who is pursuing B.Tech from a noted institute. With the money acquired from cheating people, he stayed at luxury hotels. Police said he used Instagram to target his victims and also used the name of a well-known foundation to gain trust. Police said a relative of a patient lodged the complaint stating that he has been cheated by the accused. The complainant said that he received a message on a WhatsApp group for setting up ICU facility at home and contacted him.
He demands down can give extra oxygen to others.
Delhi's demand down can give extra oxygen to others, Sisodia. Satyendra Jain asks Union Health Minister to fix price of vaccines at 150 rupees. Staff reporter, New Delhi. Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia on Thursday said that Delhi's daily medical oxygen requirement has come down with a decrease in new COVID-19 cases and that extra oxygen can be given to other states. We have written to the central government on Thursday that Delhi's daily oxygen requirement now is only 582 mount, instead of 700 mount. We have informed the central government that Delhi's quota is 590 mount and the extra oxygen we are getting could be given to other states which need more oxygen, Mr. Sisodia said in a video statement. He also said that the SOS calls for oxygen from hospitals have also come down. He said that the oxygen demand was directly proportional to the increase in cases. During the peak period, we were getting regular SOS calls from the hospitals. Now, we receive 1 to 2 SOS calls daily which are fulfilled without any delay. Delhi government is a responsible government and hence it is requesting the centre to reduce the daily oxygen allocation of Delhi to 582 mount, he said. Huge profits. Health Minister Satyendra Jain on Thursday said that he has urged the Union Health Minister to fix prices of vaccines at 150 rupees and added that vaccine manufacturers were making huge profits. The manufacturers of Covaxin and Covishield have considered this crisis as an opportunity to generate high profits. So, when Covishield is being supplied to the centre at 150 rupees and at this rate, the chairman has stated on record that they are incurring profits, Mr. Jain said. The company is manufacturing 6 crore vaccines every month. Even if we go by a profit of 10 rupees per dose, and they give half of the vaccines to the centre, which is 3 crore, the estimated profit comes out to be 30 crore. Now, the same vaccine is being sold to state governments at 300 rupees, which means the profit doubles, while the cost of production remains the same. So, on 100 crore doses, they are making a profit of 16,000 crore, the health minister said. Mr. Jain said that he has also told the union minister that instead of states going separately for international tenders for vaccines, the central government should buy it for all states. He also said that about 100 vaccination centers are closed due to shortage of vaccines. In a related development, North Delhi Municipal Corporation Mayor Jai Prakash said that Delhi government should allow vaccination of people above 18 years at all centers so that maximum number of residents can be vaccinated in a less time.
SCST takes sweep at irritating dealer to non-vaccination.
HC takes swipe at irritating dialer tune on vaccination. What is the point when there are not enough vials? Staff reporter, New Delhi. The Delhi High Court on Thursday took a swipe at the irritating dialer tune message asking people to get vaccinated when there was not enough vaccine to inoculate everyone. You have been playing one irritating message on the phone whenever one makes a call, for we do not know how long, that you should have the vaccination, when you don't have enough vaccine, a bench of Justice Vipin Singh and Justice Rekha Pillai said. You are not vaccinating people, but you still say that vaccination lagawa ye, get vaccinated. Kaun lagayega vaccination, who will get vaccinated, when there is no vaccination? What is the point of the message? The High Court remarked. You should give it to everyone. Even if you are going to take money, give it. That is what even children are saying, the bench said, adding there should be more such messages instead of just one which is running for the whole time. Till like a tape it stops running or starts skipping, you will run it for 10 years, the court remarked as it asked the authorities to have more of them, dialer messages. When a person hears a different one every time, maybe it will help him/her, it said. The High Court's suggestion came while hearing a bunch of petitions related to the COVID-19 situation in the capital. During the hearing, the bench also suggested using TV anchors or producers to create awareness amongst public about use of oxygen concentrators, cylinders and vaccination. Awareness drive. The bench said that 1-liter oxygen concentrator machine are being sold at 60,000 rupees while it really does not serve any purpose. It also said that people with oxygen level at 90 think they are being treated, but they need to be informed that treatment is also required. The court also suggested that celebrities could interview doctors which can then be publicized. You need to do it fast, the High Court said as it directed the centre and Delhi government to submit their respective reports by May 18 on what steps they are going to take for disseminating information on COVID management through print and TV media and also dialer tunes.
Not inclined to proceed in Hussain case.
Not inclined to proceed in Hussain case, HC. Court order comes after it was told that his oxygen was not from Delhi quota. Staff reporter New Delhi. The Delhi High Court on Thursday said it was not going to proceed further into the plea-seeking inquiry against UP MLA Imran Hussain for alleged hoarding of oxygen cylinders and distributing it free of cost to COVID-19 patients in his constituency. A bench of Justice Vipin Singh and Justice Rekha Pillai took note of the submission of the Delhi government that he was not provided the oxygen by the state or refillers from the quota allocated for COVID-19 patients. The court also expressed satisfaction with the explanation and invoice submitted by Mr. Hussain to show that he had taken 10 cylinders on rent and got them refilled from Faridabad. Senior advocate Rajshekhar Rao, who is the amicus curiae, said the explanation tendered by Mr. Hussain appears to be credible. Image tarnished. Senior advocate Rahul Mohra, appearing for the Delhi government, said that due to the instant plea the reputation of Mr. Hussain, a cabinet minister, was adversely affected and all the good work he did is brought to naught. Mr. Mohra said the plea was brought only against one party before the court and that too without doing any independent inquiry. There cannot be a fishing and roving inquiry, Mr. Mohra said, adding that it also deters the individual from doing any such work for the benefit of the people in the future. The court, however, said it cannot stop anyone from coming to court. It also said that it did not ask the UP MLA to stop his distribution if he was not taking oxygen from the quota allocated to Delhi.
Karnataka consultant launch website to ease plaza donation process.
Data consultant launches website to ease plasma donation process. The group already has 2,000 donors spread across cities. Himani Bhandari, New Delhi. In the second week of April, a 26-year-old data consultant who has thousands of followers on social media, decided to put the influence to good use and teamed up with a friend to create a website that brings together plasma donors for COVID-19 patients and help the needy. The Yajan, who had been amplifying requirements of oxygen and plasma on social media, roped in a tech-savvy friend and created the website fightagainstcovid19.org after buying a domain. I was getting a lot of requests for oxygen, plasma, hospital and medicines, and I thought I have a good social media presence, so should put it to good use. I thought of doing it on small scale, but then it grew to a 7-member team, she said, adding that all the members are her colleagues and friends. The team now has Riket Shahi from Hyderabad, Himanshu Pandit from Indore, Ayushi Saxena from Gwalior, Amit Pandir, Savita Bisht and Padmani from Delhi. All of them operate from their homes and attend to the needs of their respective cities and nearby places. Explaining the process, Ms. Jen said 2 types of people can use this website: those who can donate plasma and those who require it. As soon as we get the information on plasma donation and that of plasma request, we call and verify the information and try to close the requirement within 12 to 24 hours, she said. Currently, this group has nearly 2,000 donors, out of which they have made 1,500 people meet the patients. We send at least 2 donors to a patient and there is no guarantee that it'll work out, but we do the needful from our end, she said. Ground realities. Among the issues they faced on the ground, Ms. Jen said more people are coming forward to donate plasma in Maharashtra as compared to Delhi. The biggest reason for their reluctance is that people are scared to visit hospitals due to the situation. We try and convince them to go to plasma bank instead of the hospitals, she said. Another hassle for the donors, she said, is that because of the lockdown, people can't travel. But patients' families pitch in as it is their requirement. The third biggest problem is the misconception that women can't donate. Hospitals tell patients' families that they won't accept women donors because their HP is low, which further makes them think that women donors are not accepted. We have to then force them to speak to doctors. So many women have successfully donated, she said. Some hospitals, she said, are putting strict rules that only those who have recovered before 28 days or more can donate. This is another misconception because there are donors who have recovered 20 days ago and their antibodies have developed, she said. DU teachers seek union minister's intervention. Staff reporter, New Delhi. With no COVID care center being set up by the Delhi University at the Patel Chest Institute, despite repeated requests by professors, a few members of the DU Executive Council on Thursday wrote to Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan seeking urgent intervention, stating that several teaching and non-teaching staffers of DU have died due to COVID-19. The professor sought immediate ramping up of facilities in the university. The letter, written by EC members Seema Das, Rajpal Singh Pawar and Finance Committee member Dr. J.L. Gupta, said it was unfortunate that medical resources available in the university had not been utilized to their full capacity. In the given scenario, there is an urgent need to revamp the facilities available at all medical centers and more particularly at Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute situated in the heart of the university. People are dying due to non-availability of beds and oxygen cylinders. Even within the university, we have lost near and dear ones working in the administration, departments and colleges. The letter read. The letter urged the minister to give necessary instructions to DUVC, who is also the chairman of VPCI, to convene an emergency meeting of the VPCI governing body. Kalra's oxygen concentrators were substandard, says report. He may face stringent charges if any patient is found to have had adverse effects. Saurabh Trivedi, New Delhi. It has now emerged that besides being exorbitantly priced, the oxygen concentrators supplied by Navneet Kalra were of no use for COVID-19 patients and could have instead been counterproductive, said Delhi police citing medical experts on Thursday. Mr. Kalra has been evading arrest after the Delhi police raided his restaurants in Lodi Colony and Khan Market and recovered more than 500 oxygen concentrators. He has been accused of hoarding, black marketing and selling the medical equipment at exorbitant rates. A senior police officer said that they had seized a total 524 oxygen concentrators during the raids at Mr. Kalra's restaurants and Matrix Cellular's warehouse in Chhatarpur. The Delhi police had sent 2 different models of the seized concentrators for testing at Shri Ram Institute for Industrial Research. The report found that an average output in terms of oxygen purity is found to be 32.7% and 38.2% respectively in a 9-liter and 7-liter model. The testing was carried out in the laboratory room A and the oxygen concentration was found to be merely 20.8%, said the officer. He said that the report has been submitted in the court. The experts said that these oxygen concentrators are unfit for COVID-19 patients. A medical equipment that produces less than 90% oxygen is useless in case of COVID-19, said the officer. WhatsApp chats. He said that they have accessed WhatsApp chats of a group created by Mr. Kalra to sell oxygen concentrators. They found that people who have purchased these oxygen concentrators from Mr. Kalra have raised concern over the quality and wanted to return it. Oxygen concentration is of very poor quality with only 45% oxygen in a 7-liter cylinder. It is insufficient for a patient. The machine which you are offering is of no use, one of the buyers raised a complaint in the WhatsApp group. If during investigation it is found that any COVID-19 patient faced any adverse effects due to these substandard oxygen concentrators, then Mr. Kalra will face more stringent charges for putting a patient's life at risk. The police said that Chinese oxygen concentrators were purchased for 12,500 rupees and 20,669 rupees and sold for 70,000 rupees and above per piece. Buyers used to queue up outside Khan Chacha restaurant in Khan Market to purchase them. Anticipatory bail plea of Khan Chacha owner Kalra dismissed. He is accused of hoarding concentrators in his eating joints. Press Trust of India, New Delhi. A Delhi court on Thursday refused to grant anticipatory bail to businessman Navneet Kalra in connection with the seizure of oxygen concentrators, required by COVID-19 patients, from his upscale restaurants including Khan Chacha in the national capital. Application is dismissed, Additional Session Judge Sandeep Garg said. Fear of arrest. Fearing arrest, the businessman had moved the court earlier this week to seek bail in the case. During a recent raid, 524 oxygen concentrators were recovered from 3 restaurants owned by Mr. Kalra, and it is suspected that he has left Delhi along with his family. These concentrators are crucial medical equipment used for COVID-19 management. On Wednesday, the court had reserved the order on the pre-arrest bail after hearing the arguments of both the prosecution and defense at length. During the proceedings, Public Prosecutor Atul Srivastava had opposed the plea and told the court that Mr. Kalra's custodial interrogation is required and that bail should not be granted as he is an influential person. His intention was to cheat the public at large and wrongfully gain. Had Delhi police not busted the racket, many people would have been cheated, he said. The prosecutor had also apprised the court about a lab report which showed that the seized oxygen concentrators are not working, have poor quality and their working capacity is only 20.8%.
Up to 3 days vaccine stock for 35 plus age group health workers.
Left with 2 to 3 days vaccine stock for 45 plus age group health workers. ATC requests central government to make more doses available. Special correspondent, New Delhi. Aam Aadmi Party (AAP) leader Atishi on Thursday said the capital was left with just 2 to 3 days stock of COVID-19 vaccine doses for those above 45 years of age as well as engaged in healthcare and frontline duties. For those falling in the 18 to 44 age group, she said, Delhi had 8 days stock of Covishield doses available. Over 41 lakh doses had been administered in the city so far and 74,448 people having been vaccinated in Delhi on Wednesday, she said. Delhi currently has 3 days of Covaxin and 2 days of Covishield stock for those above 45 years of age, healthcare and frontline workers. We request the government to make more doses available for this category, she said. 40.29 lakh utilized. The capital, Missouri, she said, had so far got 43.20 lakh doses for 45-plus citizens, healthcare and frontline workers, of which 40.29 lakh had been utilized. Delhi had received 8.17 lakh doses of vaccine doses for the 18 to 44 category, of which 4.27 lakh had been utilized, and the remaining doses, primarily Covishield, could last up to 8 days, Ms. Atishi said. This, she said, even as the city had already run out of Covaxin stock for the 18-plus category and most of the centers administering the Bharat Biotech manufactured vaccine had been temporarily shut till further orders. Dispensaries conduct routine immunization of children on Wednesdays and Fridays. So, there were fewer vaccination centers on May 12, she said. 41.64 lakh doses. According to the vaccine bulletin issued by the Delhi government on Thursday, a total number of 41.64 lakh doses had been administered to beneficiaries across all categories in the city since the inoculation drive began on January 16. Oxygen on Wheels drive inaugurated. Special correspondent, New Delhi. State BJP President Adesh Gupta on Thursday inaugurated the Oxygen on Wheels initiative started by the South Delhi Municipal Corporation and Rania Foundation, keeping in view issues related to the shortage of oxygen in the capital. Leader of opposition in the Delhi Assembly Ramveer Singh Bidhuri, South Delhi Mayor Anamika Singh and Foundation Chairman and former Mayor Ravindra Gupta were present on the occasion. Mr. Gupta said the scheme had been started to prevent patients in need of oxygen from being forced to return home from outside hospitals or suffer outside medical facilities. HC, legal aid lawyers, judicial officers need to be vaccinated. Cannot send someone to war without a gun, says court. Staff reporter, New Delhi. The Delhi High Court on Thursday asked if legal aid lawyers and judicial officers in the 18 to 44 age bracket, working to implement Supreme Court orders to decongest prisons due to the pandemic, can walk in for vaccination shots at the centers set up in district courts. You cannot send someone to war without a gun, Justice Naveen Chawla remarked, adding legal aid lawyers and judicial officers also needed to be protected against the virus. The High Court's query to the centre and Delhi government came while hearing a plea by the Delhi State Legal Services Authority, DSLSA, represented by Advocate Ajay Verma, seeking directions to urgently vaccinate judicial officers and legal aid lawyers at the vaccination centres set up in district courts. The central government said there was no separate classification of lawyers as frontline workers for priority in vaccination. It said the issue of vaccinating the legal aid lawyers was a pan-India concern. Centers call. Delhi government said lawyers and judicial officers of 45 years or above can walk in for vaccination at the centers in the district courts, but that was not the case with regard to the 18 to 44 age group. The Delhi government said it does not have the discretion to allow walk-in of the 18 to 44 age group, and a decision regarding it has to be taken by the centre. The High Court had earlier asked DSLSA to prepare a list of the legal aid lawyers and judicial officers who would need the vaccination, so that the same can be shared with the centre and Delhi government for their consideration.
If we want LG to take over health administration before third wave.
BJP wants LG to take over health administration before third wave. Delhiites have lost faith in the Kejriwal government's capability. Special correspondent, New Delhi. The Delhi BJP on Thursday wrote to Lieutenant Governor Anil Bedul demanding that he, in his capacity as chairperson of the Delhi Disaster Management Authority, DDMA, take over Delhi's entire health infrastructure to confront the third wave of COVID-19, which may especially pose a grave danger to children. Residents worried. The residents of the capital, Delhi BJP spokesperson Praveen Shankar Kapoor stated, had bravely faced the first and second waves of the pandemic but were now extremely worried about the fate of their families during the next wave. The people of Delhi have lost faith in the Arvind Kejriwal government's capability to fight COVID-19's third wave, as it has totally failed them during the ongoing second wave. It knew from September 2020 that a strong wave will strike the country in the first quarter of 2021 but did little to make preparations to fight it, Mr. Kapoor alleged. I quote Delhi's ruling party's senior-most MLA Shoaib Iqbal, who recently said that the Delhi's health infrastructure has collapsed and we can't anymore leave the situation in the hands of the Kejriwal government and Delhi be put under President's rule to take care of health services, he wrote. Mr. Kapoor requested the LG, as Administrator of Delhi and as DDMA Chief, to take over all public and private health services and ensure that hospitals and doctors are prepared for pediatric treatment. COVID-related facilities to come up on DDA land. Central Ministry gives approval. Special Correspondent, New Delhi. The Ministry of Urban Development has approved setting up of temporary hospitals, oxygen plants and other COVID-related infrastructure on Delhi Development Authority (DDA) land across the city for up to 1 year, based on recommendations to this effect approved Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal, government sources said here on Thursday. Several requests. According to government sources, the DDA had received several requests from hospitals, medical institutions and charitable institutions regarding the setting up of such facilities to combat the COVID-19 pandemic over the last few days. The issue was examined by the Delhi Development Authority in consultation with the Finance and Law departments, which concluded that such allotments required approval under NERS-UL rules, which primarily deal with land placed at the disposal of the DDA and developed by, or under the control and supervision of, the authority. LG Nod. The Lieutenant Governor approved the recommendations made by the DDA, which were then forwarded to the Urban Development Ministry on May 5 and have now, according to sources, been approved by it.
TV actor booked for justice remarking.
TV actor booked for caste remark in video. She has been charged under SC/ST Act after the lit rights member filed complaint. Ashok Kumar, Gurugram. Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma actor Munmun Datta aka Babita Ji has been booked under the Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act for an alleged casteist slur in a recent video. The FIR has been registered at Haryana's Hasi. Superintendent of Police, Hasi, Nitika Gehlot confirmed that the case was registered at City Police Station under Section 31U of the SCs and STs Act. The case was registered on Thursday, said the police. The FIR was registered following a complaint by Rajat Kasa, convener of National Alliance for the Lit Human Rights. Mr. Kasa complained against the actor on May 11 and also produced a compact disc with the video in which Ms. Datta allegedly made objectionable comment against the SC. Ms. Datta, in a makeup video, said she wanted to look good and referred to a particular scheduled caste to say that she did not want to look like them. Munmun Datta has uttered the name of the scheduled caste with the intention to insult the entire Dalit community. The video has been released on an Instagram profile with lakhs of followers. My community members and I have been heard on watching the video, said Mr. Kursa. Ms. Datta, following the controversy, apologized in a post on her Instagram profile 3 days ago, attributing it to language barrier and saying that she was genuinely misinformed about the meaning of the word. I sincerely would like to apologize to every single person who has been unintentionally hurt, said the post.
HP breather for a scribe in a rape case.
HC breather for scribe in rape case. Woman had alleged that she was raped by Hiramat in February. Staff reporter, New Delhi. The Delhi High Court on Thursday granted anticipatory bail to Mumbai-based television journalist Varun Hiramat in an alleged rape case. The court on April 9 granted him interim protection from arrest in the case, provided he joined the police investigation. Mr. Hiramat approached the High Court after his earlier anticipatory bail plea was dismissed by a trial court here on March 12. The trial court had said that consent cannot be implied from the complainant's previous experiences with the accused. If the woman stated in her evidence before the court that she did not consent, the court shall presume that she did not, the trial court had said while rejecting his anticipatory bail plea. The woman, in her FIR filed at Chanakyapuram police station, had alleged that she was raped by Mr. Hiramat at a five-star hotel here on February 20. Mr. Hiramat's counsel, however, claimed that there had been a history of previous sexual relationship between the accused and the complainant. Mr. Hiramat is facing charges under sections of the Indian Penal Code.
Karnataka government pulled by High Court.
Karnataka government, pulled up by HC, submit district-wise data to Center for the vaccines needed for the second dose. Special Correspondent Bengaluru. Questioning why the state government overlooked a series of advisories by the central government on the need for the timely administration of the second dose of COVID-19 vaccines, the Karnataka High Court on Thursday said the people of Karnataka would not have faced such a desperate situation to get the second dose had the state adhered to the guidelines issued since April. The court directed the state government to adhere to the advisories on the priority to be given to the second dose and also submit to the central government the district-wise need of the two types of vaccines for the second dose. A special division bench, comprising Chief Justice Abhay Srinivasoka and Justice Arvind Kumar, issued the directions while noticing that the central government's advisories were very clear on the timely completion of the second dose. The government must tell the truth to the public. Let people unnecessarily not go to vaccination centers. You, state government, must come clean, the bench orally observed while pointing out the inconsistency in the data on the vaccines required for the second dose and serious lapses on the part of the state government in the timely administration of it. The bench pointed out that the data submitted earlier indicated a requirement of 26,08,907 doses of the vaccines for the administration of the second dose to those who have already completed 4 to 6 weeks after taking the first dose. However, the data submitted by the state government on Thursday stated that only 19,97,729 doses were required for the second dose, the bench said. It also noticed from the submissions of amicus curiae Vikram Hilgol that an additional 5.28 lakh doses of the vaccines were required for health and frontline workers to administer the second dose.
HP Telangana MLC polls put off due to pandemic. Weather report and test positivity still high at 7%. Vaccine is the only way to get rid of virus. Maharashtra extend break the chain restriction till June.
Maharashtra extends break the chain restrictions till June 1. Negative RT-PCR test made must for entering state by any mode of transport. Special Correspondent, Pune. Even as the cases have been declining somewhat in the state in the last few days, the Maharashtra government on Thursday decided to extend its break the chain restrictions currently in force till June 1. An order issued by Chief Secretary Sitaram Kunte under the Epidemic Diseases Act, 1897, and the Disaster Management Act, 2005, extended all previous curbs that had been imposed under the orders of April 13, 21, and 29 till 7 a.m. on June 1. The order mandates that any person entering the state by any mode of transport will have to carry a negative RT-PCR test report which would have to be issued a maximum 48 hours before his entry into Maharashtra. The restrictions on persons arriving from places of sensitive origins as per orders dated April 18th and May 1st will be applicable to anyone arriving from any part of the country into the state, the directive said. It further says that in case of cargo carriers, not more than 2 persons may be allowed to travel in the same. In the event of these carriers originating from outside the state, they would have to enter with a negative RT-PCR test. The directive has ordered local district administrations to keep a special vigil over rural markets and agriculture produce market committees, APMCs, and ensure COVID-19 appropriate behavior. The order further empowers district administrations to shut down APMCs after reviewing the situation on case-by-case basis in the event of indisciplined behavior by errant citizens and vendors or violations of pandemic norms on their part. At the cabinet meeting held on Wednesday, there was a general unanimity on the imperative to extend lockdown-like restrictions until cases and fatalities had drastically dropped in the state. While
recoveries surpass cases yet again. Time of disappears. Age and during the in during the pandemic, political rebel and retreat. फ्रेंड्स, आज का ये हम लोग का समाचार न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ने का समाप्त होता है। और मैं इस पेपर को टेलीग्राम ग्रुप में डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में डाल दूंगा, यहीं से आप लोग पढ़ लीजिएगा। और कल से हम लोग 5:10 तक, सुबह में 5:10 तक, 5 बजे से 5:10 के बीच लाइव होंगे इसी चैनल पर, और हम लोग पेपर पढ़ेंगे लाइव। तो आज के लिए जुड़े रहने के लिए धन्यवाद। और यदि आप कल से लगातार डेली पेपर पढ़ना चाहते हैं तो हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए। पर डे 5 बजे से 5:10 के बीच ये हम लोग पेपर पढ़ना स्टार्ट कर देंगे। आज ये थोड़ा रिकॉर्डेड सेशन है, और कल से लाइव हम 5 बजे सुबह आ जाएंगे। और बाकी सब ये आप पेपर पढ़ लीजिए, मैं डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में ग्रुप का लिंक दे दूँगा।